Hello. Okay. Okay. Let's wait a little bit, 3 or 4 minutes. I see there are a few questions already. Um, mm, mm. Hello. Tere. Salam. Okay. Just to confirm, everyone can hear me okay? Or not everybody? Who else is here? Okay. All right. So, okay. So I think I will begin. So firstly, everybody, tere tulemast, mina olen Manan ja ma olen nii grateful to everybody who's here. So today I'm going to be talking about a few different subjects. So first one is going to be about Estonian citizenship. I'll tell about how I got the citizenship. It's been a long journey, and I want to explain it step by step so that everybody can know, because I got a lot of questions when I posted that I finally got the citizenship. And I thought it would be a great way that I just explain it in one place. So that is topic number one. Topic number two, I would like to talk maybe a little bit about the channel and the future, what I think, what direction I would like to take this in the coming weeks. Not the coming weeks, but this year, like the future for the channel. And topic number three, if there are any questions that are remaining from the audience, then I will answer them as well. Okay, I have my notes right here. So first up is becoming Eesti kodanik or Estonian citizen. So becoming an Estonian citizen, firstly, is a very long process, and it's not the easiest. I mean, there are a few citizenships that are quite complicated and a little difficult, and I would say Estonia ranks quite highly above there, and we'll see why that is exactly. For a lot of people, it's a big motivation to come to Estonia and to have a citizenship because it opens a huge number of doors for you. Like it's I think people often don't realize the enormous amount of privilege that having an Estonian passport or an EU passport, or generally like a first world passport, having what that gives you. It's a huge benefit, like a huge. So that is a big motivation for a lot of people who are from like developing countries like Pakistan or India or Bangladesh or China or all these countries which are relatively low ranking. So it's a big motivation. But if you are coming to Estonia just for the purpose of getting a citizenship, then you have to understand that it's a long process. So let's start with number one. Number one requirement for being an Estonian citizen is that you have to spend a time of 8 years. Now, I got a question here from Josh already, who says that yes, he asked me that you need to have a long-term resident permit or the right of permanent residence. You have lived in Estonia prior submitting to an application. Okay, so you have to be here in total for 8 years. And the requirement is that out of these 8 years, all of these 8 years have to be on a resident permit, right? You have to be not on a visa right? Like a D visa or a visit visa or a digital nomad visa, those don't count. Okay, I think I missed one thing. All of what I'm saying is just based on my own experience, so please don't take it as a legal advice. That's very important. So 8 years you have to be here as on resident permit, which means that you could have like a TRP or a permanent residence. Now, the requirement on the police website says that out of these 8 years, the last 5 years you have to be permanently settled in Estonia. And what it means is that you were living constantly in Estonia in the last 5 years among these 8 years. So technically, this means that, for example, if you lived in Estonia for like 3 years, then you left for a year, and then you came back, and then you lived for 5 more years, then this will count. Like the last 5 years, you have to be permanently settled in Estonia, which means Estonia is your tax residence. You have a source of income here. You have a registered residence here. So 8 years in total. That's important. Now, in a few countries, this requirement is a little bit less. Like, for example, I think in Finland, it could be about 5 years. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Sweden, it's also 5 years. Germany, they're thinking about reducing it right now. So this is something that they are being talking about. But 8 years is like quite a lot of time. So think about it. So that is the first requirement, that you have to be in Estonia for 8 years. That's a big requirement. So make sure that you are able to live here, because like I often say that being a foreigner and coming to Estonia, it's like not the most easiest thing, and you have to be sure that you're able to cope up here. Like it's not the easiest. So that is requirement number 1. Oh, yes. So Asan Akhtar asks, is there any minimum time you have to spend while having long-term resident permit? No. You have to have a resident. I mean, you have to have a permanent residence. I mean, after 5 years of working here, you're able to get that. So you don't need to spend 5 years on the permanent resident permit, because that means that it would take a longer time. It would take like 10 years because and that doesn't make sense. Like, for example, you stay here for like on temporary residence for like 5 years, and then you apply for a permanent residence. That takes like 6 months at least, or a year maybe, because you also need to do some other things for that as well. And then you fulfill the total requirement of 8 years. So permanent resident card is not necessary. So that is the duration of number 1. Now, if you have any questions about the duration, then please just post them, but I will move to the next topic. Okay, so the next topic, and that is the most important thing for Estonian citizenship, is passing the language exam. Eesti taseme exami B1, B1. Yet you have to pass, and that is if you're here for nearly like 5-6 years, then I think it should be not so difficult. But it was difficult for me as well. So I have made a few videos on this topic about passing the language exam, but I will just give you a few tips here and there. And okay, there was another question by Evans. Yes. I think you can apply a bit earlier. You can apply a bit earlier because you have to understand that. Wait, let me think. I'll come back to it. Ivans, I will come back to it after I reach that step, because that is a very, very good questions. Okay, so language. The most important part and critical part, and that was like really scary for me because I was afraid I was not going to pass that. So the most important thing for language is that you have to consider that learning Estonian and then giving Estonian exam, or being good at Estonian exam, they're not exactly completely similar. Because I know a lot of people who are giving the Estonian, who are fluent in Estonian, who speak very good Estonian, who write in Estonian as well. And they were not able to pass the exam. They were speaking better. They were much more fluent in Estonian than I was. So treat the Estonian exam as a separate project. It's similar to like giving IELTS, or similar to giving like those SATs or GREs, that exam that you have to make sure that you understand the exam. The biggest tip that I can give you about the Estonian language exam is that every exam, when you register for it, like a week or 2 weeks before that exam, there is a consultation. So it's like a mock exam that everybody comes to this office. There is like similar everything. And then you give this mock exam. And this mock exam really, really trains you on how to give the Estonian language exam. I would absolutely recommend that you don't miss that if you want to pass your Estonian exam. All right. Eesti keel on nii raske. Secondly, the most important thing is immersing yourself in Estonian. Now, I am not a very smart learner. Like, I still don't know what a lot of Estonian words mean, but I learned them by immersing myself. So I know what somebody says. So if I look at Estonians and they're saying a sentence in a certain way, then I just copy that sentence and the sounds and everything and they're making, and I know that they're saying this for this exact emotion. So I don't want to translate it into English in my head and then say, okay, what does ni mean? What does kui mean? And then I make the sentence. The best way to do that is to hear a lot of Estonian, like hear. I remember the last 2 weeks before my exam, Vika Radio is a really good radio channel. I was listening to it nonstop listening. And that sort of made me like turn into like this Estonian thing in my head. That was really cool. And yeah, so that's really important. Before the exam, immerse yourself in the culture really, really much. There are few questions coming, but I will answer that. So we are on Estonian language. Giving the Estonian exam. Okay, about that. So Estonian exam has 4 parts similar to IELTS. So the first is writing, the second is reading, the third is listening, and the fourth is speaking. Writing was the most difficult. I sucked at writing. Reading and listening were okay because there were multiple choice questions. And my recommendation to you is that you focus very much on reading and listening, because these are the sections in which you can get full marks. Like you can get 100% if you answer the MCQs very right. One of my biggest fears in the writing exam is also that if you misunderstand the question, like for example, if the question says that, one example of the question is that write a letter to your boss saying that you cannot come to the office tomorrow because your wife is sick. If you slightly misunderstand the question, that could become a really problem. Like if you misunderstand it, write a letter to your friend instead of your boss. This can be easily mistaken. If you misunderstand the question, that's a really big problem. So I really recommend that go through the past Estonian exams, learn the question formats, and try to increase your vocabulary as much as you can. There is this app called, not Duolingo. There is this app that is actually quite good. I used it for vocabulary. I think I'm missing it by the name, but I think it will come later. So Eesti keel B1 taseme exam. That's the most important. That is, I think, after the 8 years, that is the most pivotal thing, the most important thing that will decide whether you're able to get your citizenship or not. I personally know many people who couldn't pass that exam despite living here for 8 years. And they were trying, they were really, really trying. I know for a fact that they were taking classes and all these things, but they couldn't really grasp the Estonian language and pass the exam. And they actually moved away. So because they couldn't get the citizenship. So that's important. That's really, really important. Linguist A. It's not linguist. Let me see. I will just find it. Is the it's not Duolingo. It's the kind of thing that you give. Oh yeah, Speakly. Yeah, Essen. Thank you for saying that. Speakly exam. I was here for I think I was 7 years, less than 7 years when I took the exam. Why did you want to come to Estonia? I'm just curious. Okay, I came to Estonia because they invited me, actually. I got a scholarship, and it was a really good program, and they just invited me to come study here, and they paid me to just study. So that was it. And before I finished my studies, I was studying in Taltech. I got a job. It was a nice company, and it just happened. It stayed there. I mean, I often tell people that now it feels that I didn't choose Estonia, but Estonia chose me. So yeah, that's fun. How long did you live here till you took the BO? And I answered that already. Speakly, yes, that is the one. How hard is the Estonian language? 1 to 10. Now, let's say we're only talking about European languages. If we are only talking about European languages, then I would rate it near 8. 8 or 8.5. I know that Polish is difficult. Polish is very difficult. I know a lot of Finnish people who struggled with Estonian, which sounds very counterintuitive because Finnish and Estonian are quite similar. But in my first ever Estonian classes, I know Finnish people who are struggling really hard with Estonian. The trouble with the Estonian language is the cases, right? You know, the Omastav case, or these second and third cases, that 16 language cases that you have, you can't remember all of them, right? You have to learn them. And one thing that I did was that I actually learned. I memorized sentences instead of constructing the sentence in my own head. So, kas sa tahad midagi süüa? I mean, I just learned the sentence. I didn't formulate in my head, okay, soma is like to eat and suya is like the second and third form. I just learned these sentences, and that sort of helped me. So spoken Estonian is really important, and listening to Estonian is really important. And Vika Radio is super good radio program. Yes, you're right. You can take the Estonian exam as many times as you want. I know people who just give it every 6 months. But I mean, I normally wouldn't recommend that in that case. If you're just giving the Estonian exam just for practice, I mean, I don't feel like. I think when you're trying for Estonian exam, give it your all. Don't think that, okay, if I fail, then I can try again. But give it your all. Give everything that you have and try really, really hard. Otherwise, I have seen people who slip into this, giving Estonian exam every year and then getting I don't know, 48 marks and 49 marks and 50 marks. And then, yeah, so I just recommend giving it your all. Okay, Josh. Do resident period count from the day you get your first resident? Yes, it does. How long resident? You don't need to have the permanent resident permit. Yeah, Evans, you're right. Yeah, I mean, don't be afraid if you fail. That's important. Yes, I think it's 60%. Yes, it is 60%. My best marks were in speaking, actually. Surprisingly, yeah. I had a really good partner. I think she was Estonian Russian, and she was like fluent. Like, I think that she was only giving it for some kind of certification, but she was like so good, so good. And she really helped me in between there as well to help me with the questions. Speaking questions were more like, I don't know, what do you do to warm each other up? And then, okay, going on to question number 2, I can already see Josh has asked this question. So constitution exam, let's go. Constitution exam. So if you are here for if you are nearly here for 8 years, I do recommend that you make sure that as soon as you hit the 5-year mark, or even before that, I recommend that you give the Estonian exam. This means that when you hit the 5-year mark, you can get the permanent residence as soon as you pass the B1 exam. If you pass the B1 exam, then the best part about that exam is that it has no expiry date, unlike IELTS, which just is a money-making scheme that you have to give every 2 years. So the best part is that it lasts forever. So if you pass B1, you're good. The second thing is the Estonian Constitution exam. Now, Estonian Constitution exam is not that difficult. There are 25 questions. You have to answer, I think, 16 or 17 of them correctly. It's all multiple choice. Yes, it's all multiple choice. And you give it on paper. Actually, there was this place in Ülemiste where everybody just gathered and just gave the exam. Oh, no. It wasn't paper-based. I'm sorry. It was based on computer, actually. Sorry. It was on computer. And as soon as you just give the final question, you get the number that, okay, you passed or not. For the preparation of the Constitution exam, I did, there is this Constitution book that they give you. The best part is that it's also in English and Estonian. So you get to see all of that. The other best part about having the Constitution exam is that you have you have this computer and you have digital access for words. So you have this access to a dictionary. So you can answer that. You can look at those questions. Just looking at some questions. Yeah, Constitution exam is easy to crack. It's not that difficult. I mean, I know some people who actually didn't pass it, but it's very rare that somebody actually doesn't pass it. I mean, if you're smart enough to pass the Estonian B1 exam, I don't think you should have any problems with the Constitution. I just recommend that you book it as soon as possible. It's very, very easy, just like every digital thing in Estonia. It's harno.ee, which is the Estonian education system app. It's centralized system, pretty cool. You don't have to do anything. Just book the exam, go there. There is also a consultation. I'm not sure. Yes, I think there is a consultation. Yes, and just like the language consultation, I highly, highly recommend that you go there. Like, it will give you way more benefits, than anything else. So Constitution exam is it's not that difficult to manage. Okay, so when you're done with Constitution exam and you have done the language exam, then you are eligible to apply for Estonian citizenship. You have now. My recommendation is that you apply when you have been here for 8 years. Now, I know I had this question before. Should you apply a little bit before? My recommendation is that even if you want to apply, just apply like a month before, not more. Because one of the necessary requirements is, of course, the time requirement. So, and that has to be fulfilled. So I think you should start, or you should apply for it a little bit before your 8 years have started. So let's say maybe a month, maybe 2 months, because okay, let's go to the towards the actual application of that of applying for Estonian citizenship. Which cities have you been in Estonia? I haven't been to Narva. I've been to all the other major cities. I want to go to Narva as well. But I've been to Tartu. I love Tartu. Tartu is amazing. I love Pärnu. Pärnu is nice. I haven't been much to south of Estonia, actually. And yeah, I've traveled quite a bit. I haven't been to Narva yet, but I would really like to go there. Mm-hmm. Okay. To my knowledge, what cities? Says Speakly is an Estonian app. It's actually quite good. It's one of the very few apps that actually talk about Estonian language. Is it difficult to find people to chat out in public to practice Estonian, e.g. bars, parks, out on hikes? I have a very different view here. I mean, almost 99% of the people you meet, foreigners, they often complain that Estonians don't talk to them in Estonian. Like, as soon as they try to practice, they switch to English. My experience has been complete opposite. Like, my friends are like forcing me to talk in Estonian, and I'm like, palun. Like, I did talk to a lot of them when I was practicing for my Estonian exam, but I've never had this problem. I mean, if you want to talk to somebody in Estonian, then just straight away fire at them in Estonian, like tere, kuidas läheb, mina olen Manan ja kas te räägite inglise keelt, or something like that. But begin by Estonian. Don't be afraid to start that. And I think if you're really, really struggling, then they would want to switch to English, but you don't have to switch to English. I mean, my experience has been complete opposite. I mean, my Estonian friends and everybody really wanted to talk to me in Estonian. Speakly is great. Speakly is great for vocabulary, but I mean, I would still recommend listening to Estonian radio. Maybe listening to Estonian radio or watching some drama series or something in Estonian. Some people find visual content more educational, like watching Estonian movies or dramas. For me, it was the radio content that really did the trick. Like, it really, really helped me. Okay, hello, Manan Bhai. Hello, Ali. How are you doing? Josh, yes, we can apply to earlier. What happens when you apply for it? Okay, yeah, I'm coming to that topic. So 90% same flavors. So permanent residence is like within Estonia, you get similar rights, right? So you cannot vote. That's one thing. But within Estonia, you nearly get the same rights. It's outside of Estonia that you cannot travel that much. Obviously, I mean, you're still holding your own original passport, but it gives you all the benefits. The problem with permanent resident card is that it can be taken away. That's the problem. Yeah, that's one big reason why I really wanted to move ahead and get the Estonian passport, because if you live abroad for, let's say, quite some years, then it might be possible that your permanent resident card can be taken away, but you can easily get that card back, but you have to come back. And I think there is a whole procedure. You have to stay here. You have to have a permanent income, and that's this whole thing again. So I didn't want to go through that again. But you do get similar rights within Estonia and abroad as well. So a permanent resident card holder can move within EU and get similar employment freedom. Like a permanent resident in Estonia could apply for permanent resident card in other countries as well. That is what I feel. So you do get some rights, but it's not enough. I mean, if you have done all this work, then I recommend that you go ahead and apply for citizenship. But we're coming to that, to the procedure. So Josh, you have really good questions, man. You really know your stuff. My family has actually come and visited me. A while back, my sister was living in Germany. And back in 2019, just before COVID, my family actually came here and we had a really good time. We traveled to I think their favorite place was Viduraba, Lahima National Park. Freaking amazing. My dad loved it. We had an amazing time here. And it was summer, beautiful time. Although they were suffering because of the white nights. That was fun. And always let us know that you want to try to speak Estonian. Of course, yes. Don't I think there are within Estonia, there are a very few things that open more doors for you than Estonian language. I often say that if you don't know Estonian, then you probably know, or you're probably benefiting from like 5% of Estonia. Like you live in a very tiny bubble, very tiny bubble. But if you start to speak Estonian, then like 20 to 40% of things open up to you. You get more opportunities, you get more doors open for you, you get to more friends. People are generally more relaxed towards you. I mean, and that is not just for normal people, like for people like your friends or family or everybody around you, but that is for actually the government as well. Like, I mean, it's not stated explicitly there, but if you are talking to a police officer in Estonian, or if you are talking to somebody from the customer service in Estonian, and that I don't mean like you have to fluently speak Estonian. I mean, you can start in Estonian, you can try to explain your problem, and if you're suffering like I do a lot, and then I just ask, "Kas ma saan rääkida inglise keel? Can I speak just in English?" And they're very happy to oblige, or they bring somebody to do that. But what I mean to say is that the effort required to learn Estonian, I mean, it's incredibly hard, I know, but the return of that is like 10 times and 100 times if you are living in Estonia. So absolutely, I tell everybody, even if you're coming to Estonia for like 3 months, start learning Estonian from day one. Like, do it non-negotiably. Like, this is non-negotiable. Start learning it from day one. Start to learn the words, phrases. Just find something interesting and then just start talking. Like, whatever interests you. I mean, if you like Minecraft, just start talking about Minecraft in Estonian. If you like music, start talking about music in Estonian. If you like anything, just whatever that subject is, try to use Estonian for that. So big benefit of Estonian. Where can I see some Estonian dramas free online? That's a very good question. Jupiter. I think there is an app called Jupiter AA. Yeah. Jupiter RRR. I think if you're in Estonia, then you can watch that. I'm pasting the link here. Bachelor requirements for A-level students. I don't understand the question. I mean, go to study in Estonia. .ee. Let me check the link. Study in Estonia.ee. Yes. And there you will find all the requirements. Mailan Kalamajas, yes. Johannes Matiasto. You got me. Babbles, you have a really good question. I just posted the link for Jupyter, but like, here's the thing. Like, when you're learning Estonian, think of it like not one size will not fit all, right? For me, some people are like very analytical. Some people are like very good at languages. They understand the language. Okay, like maths, like, okay, I use this, I use this, I use this, I use this. I'm not like that. I'm much more of a social learner. So for me, the best way to learn was just surrounding myself with Estonian all the time. Like, I told you about radio. I just hearing Estonian and forcing myself in situations to talk to Estonians. So if books work for you, try. So the best way to start with learning Estonian is to like take many different things. Like try personal coaching, then try group coaching, then try books, then try whatever works for you that you find the easiest for you. Then go with that, because one size will not fit all. It doesn't work for everybody like that. Aitäh, Johannes, Matthias, JK15. I live in Mustamäe. Yeah, Mustamäe, of course. I like Mustamäe as well. I lived in Mustamäe for like a couple of times back when I was beginning. Josh, I will come to that. So we are talking about applying for Estonian citizenship, and we are at a stage where we have the 8-year requirement fulfilled. We have passed the Estonian language exam. We have passed the citizenship exam, and now we're going to apply. So the first step to apply is you go to the PPA website. You fill the citizenship form. You take it out. You fill the citizenship form. And then I don't think there are any additional, because in Estonia, of course, I mean, everybody knows all the things are like digitally linked. So I don't have to apply for my certificate for citizenship exam. I didn't have to get any my Estonian language certificate specifically, because, it's all online. Police can check that from their own database. So all I did was the first step for applying was I took the form. It was a long form, like you have to fill in a lot more things. And then I digitally signed it and I applied and I sent it to the police. Now, here are a few things that you need to be important. Photo, fingerprints, and signature. So on the police website, there is a place where you can check if your last photo, signature, or fingerprints are valid or not. My recommendation is that in order to save time, just go to the police office anytime, right? And just give your photo, your fingerprints, and your signature there. And it's valid for like 6 months. And I think photo is valid for like 6 months, and your biometrics are valid for like a lot more time. But do that. Once you do that, you have the possibility to apply online. You just make the documents, like write them out, fill them in Adobe PDF, digitally sign them, and then just email them to police. That is the first step. When the police receives the application, that will trigger the first stage of your Estonian. Now, let me just give you an example. That's this whole stage from applying for the first step and getting your passport in hand nearly took me a year for me. So it's not a small time. So I didn't have to speak Estonian per se as well. I just tried because online was a lot more convenient. I filled the forms. I applied for it online. I didn't have to put in any photo because it was already in the database. Now, the requirement for Estonian citizenship, according to the constitution, is that either all these requirements are, fulfilled, and the final requirement is that you have been either released from your previous citizenship or you are given the guarantee that you will be released from the citizenship, right? either you are released from the previous citizenship or you have been given a certificate by the government that you will be released from the citizenship, from your previous citizenship. You cannot have an Estonian citizenship. You cannot have a naturalized Estonian citizenship if you have the previous citizenship as well. Now, this is a little bit of a gray area because there is a conflict in the Estonian constitution, and that has been talked about many times. An Estonian person cannot hold the citizenship of another country. I'm an Estonian citizen. I cannot be a Pakistani citizen. But the constitution also says that if you are a born Estonian citizen, like if you were born to Estonian parents, either of the Estonian parents were no matter where you were born, if one of your parents was Estonian, then Estonian citizenship cannot be taken away from you. So technically, if you're born an Estonian, then you can have dual citizenships. I know many Estonians who have Australian citizenship, Canadian citizenship, American citizenship, and it's sort of like a loophole, but it's only valid for people who are born in Estonia, who are like native Estonians. So that's very important distinction to understand. Like, if you are applying for citizenship, then you have to renounce your previous citizenship. So when I applied for my citizenship for the first stage, I didn't renounce my old citizenship. So the way citizenship process works is that Politsei ja Piirivalveamet, PPA, it assigns you a case officer. And my case officer told me after a month that I've seen your application, everything seems to be good. I want you to write me an application that says that Estonia writes a letter to me that says your citizenship has been provisionally accepted, and you will be given Estonian citizenship if you renounce the old citizenship. In my case, it was the Pakistani citizenship. So I had to write a letter that said, please give me a letter that I can submit to Pakistan so that they can renounce my old citizenship. So that was the point. Estonian police gave me the letter. Now it's different for different countries, but Estonia is a small country, so it doesn't have embassies for many countries. For me, being a Pakistani citizen, I had to go to Poland, and I had to take that letter. The letter was in eesti keel. It was in Estonian. I had to translate that. I had to notarize translation. That's different. That's not just normal translation. It's translated, and they have this proper thing. I mean, there are a few places in in the city center where you can do that. One recommendation is for translation services, try to get like 5-7 codes from different places because the prices are very, very different. One place asked me like for 100 euros for one page translation, another place asked me for like 40. And it's the same thing. I mean, they're all notarized. They're all like similar authority. So save money there. I don't just go for one translator. So I got the letter from PPA, and I translated that letter. They stamped that letter, and it was now ready to be submitted to the Pakistani embassy. So I went to the Pakistani embassy and to Poland, and I had to get an appointment on phone, and then I went there, and unfortunately, this was one step that couldn't be done through mail. I know that previous years, some people actually did it by mail. They sent the filled signs and everything. But the case officer, or like the Pakistani like diplomat there who was dealing with these things, they said that we had to change this because when you are applying for renouncing the citizenship, we have to make sure that is the person who is applying by themselves. So we have to make sure that the person is there like in person. So I had to go to Poland all the way. When I applied for that, I have to give all my old passports, old Pakistani passport. I still had my latest passport. Yes, Essen, that's correct. Thank you. Politsai ja Piirivalveamet. PPA, Police and Border Guard Agency. That's true. When you get citizenship and naturalization method, like you do have to offer military service only if you're under 27. If you're older than 27, which in my case is, then you don't have to. Okay. So going to the embassy, applying for the renunciation, and then this is the step that will be a little bit difficult, but because it's outside of your hands. So what will happen is that I know that is true for many other countries as well, like South American countries and all the other countries as well. I mean, Turkey has an embassy here, so it's easier for them, Turkish people. So when I went there to Poland, I submitted my the renunciation certificate. I had to submit pictures, all this like typical bureaucratic procedures that I wasn't used to anymore because I was living in Estonia for so long. So I had to, go through that whole spiel again. And then I had to submit my old passports, all the old passports that I had. I came back and I had my latest passport. I still hadn't submitted it. So what they would do is the procedure normally works. I think for Pakistan it works like this, but it might work in similar way for other countries as well. Is that they check your application is then transferred to Pakistan through diplomatic mail, and it takes like a month because it's like snail mail. So 1 month going, 1 month coming back. And then there was this whole procedure of when Directorate General of Immigration, so similar to PPA, what we have in Estonia, we have a similar in Directorate General of Passport and Immigration. So similar to that in Pakistan. And what they do is they check your identity against any outstanding problems. The number one thing that they check is if I have any criminal records. I mean, if I'm evading any sentence or something like that. The second part is they check if I'm evading any tax or if I have any liabilities or all these things. So it's a criminal background check. And I'm pretty sure that there are some other things that they also check against that, but that's what the procedure is like. I know that in some countries, it's really, really, really complicated for Russia. Like, I don't even know how you can do that. So I feel privileged that I'm from Pakistan, that I was able to do that so easily. Iranian people can't even do that. Like, it's so sad. Like, I know so many Iranian people who can't even renounce their citizenship. They can't get Estonian citizenship because they can't renounce their own citizenship. So yeah, that's a big problem. Yeah, president needs to sign the application. I don't know why would they do that. So that's what they check, and that is the longest time for me. So it took like 6 months. I think I applied for it in November, like end of November, and basically by December, January, February, March, April, May. In May, I finally got the digital scan of my renunciation certificate. I didn't get in physical form. If I want to submit it to Estonia, PPA, then I have to submit this physical certificate. Here's the problem. This certificate has to be attested by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Estonia. any document from any country who is not a signatory of this document agreement with Estonia has to get their document attested by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Estonia. The requirement for Ministry of Foreign Affairs for Estonia to attest any document is that it has to be first attested by the respective foreign ministry of the country, right? Or in some countries, like there are 3 countries, I think, for which it has to be attested first by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of that country, and also the consulate or the embassy of that country. So you have to attest it 3 times. In my case, it had to be done 2 times. So the Pakistani embassy, when they received the document, they sent me a digital copy of that document, and they said, if I submit my original passport to them, if I send the passport to them, and I share my, and I cancel my ID card, like Pakistani ID card, then they will send this original document to me. So, yeah. So that was a little bit complicated. I mean, I had to I had to send my passport, like my original passport, to Pakistani embassy in Poland. And then I had to cancel my ID card as well. And then they sent me the original renunciation certificate, and I submitted that renunciation certificate actually the same day that I received it, because I was really, really fast. I submitted it the same day that I received it. I think that was in I think that was in May. Yes, end of May that I submitted it. Okay. So roughly 3rd week of May that I got the certificate, and then I submitted it right away. So technically, my Pakistani citizenship was revoked already on April or May. Like in this time in between, I was technically stateless before Estonia accepted my citizenship. So that was like a very anxious time, because even though Estonia says that we will give you the citizenship, they haven't guaranteed it, right? They have not said that we will guarantee you the citizenship. For example, there are some clauses and cases in which Estonia can say that we are not giving you the citizenship. I mean, I think there are some very extreme cases where they would say that they will not give you. I think there have to be like something criminal or anything. But I mean, of course, if you're a foreigner, then you have this anxiety in yourself that, what if something doesn't work out? Yes, Josh, that is actually crazy. That is very, very crazy. I was like stateless in between. Like I couldn't travel. Like I haven't traveled for this whole year, actually. I haven't been outside of Estonia. So that is why I was waiting so hard for this. Joy, what are your thoughts about the nightlife of Estonia? I'll answer that later. Things fall into place. Yes, it takes time. Yes, it takes a lot of patience and effort. But I think you can do it. I mean, you have to understand, I'm answering this question, Zain, here, that there are things that are out of your control, and you have to understand the things that are within your control. Normally, we're anxious for the things that are not in our control, but those we cannot do anything about. So, I mean, one of the reasons why I'm doing this and I'm sharing all this is also to help other people in a way say that, okay, I share with you this feeling of being not in control of all these things. Brent has a really good question. Okay. Hey, Manan, I have a question about medical care and medications while waiting for my TRP because the US healthcare will only allow a certain amount of medications when I move, and I cannot miss them. So, does this mean that you're not allowed to bring medication from US to here? I don't think that's true. Like, if this is medication that you are required to have, then you can bring them, right? But till you have the TRP, I would recommend um, that you use the medication that you have from the US, or you can like have like a private insurance. I know there are some insurances in Estonia. Just make sure that it covers the medication till you have the TRP and you're assigned like a family doctor. But that's a whole another that's a whole another can of worms as well, like getting a family doctor and then getting all that. There is this new app called salu.md. You don't need a family doctor for that. That will make things faster for you. So try that as soon as you get TRP. Okay. Would you now need a visa to travel to Pakistan? Yes, I need a visa to travel to Pakistan. Yes. Yes. So let's imagine that I'm an Estonian citizen and I have a child when I'm in US. That child will have technically 3 citizenships. He will be Estonian because his dad is Estonian. He will be Pakistani because the mom is Pakistani. He will be American because he was born on American soil. But I think he can hold almost all the 3 citizenships because Estonian one cannot be taken away. Okay, that's good. Is it hard to get a job? It's relative. Like if you're in IT in Estonia, no, I don't think it should be that hard to get a job in Estonia. My recommendation to you is that if you're not on LinkedIn, then be on LinkedIn. Try to get contacts. I mean, Estonia is still very small, so majority of the hiring here in Estonia is based on references, like contacts. Make friends, ask your friends, ask friends of friends if they have any job vacancy, because majority of the job vacancies are just filled. I mean, my first job was in Estonia. I actually applied for it. But all the other jobs that I've had are just because somebody knew me and they asked me. And that's how you feel like majority of the jobs happen in Estonia. So connections. Use LinkedIn, talk to your friends. Yeah. It's a slow process in Estonia, but you need to make connections. Would you recommend skipping A2 and jumping right away on B1 level courses? I wouldn't recommend that. I would recommend that you study A2, B1, step by step. But if you want, you can give the B1 exam directly. You don't need to give the A2 exam. I did it that way. I didn't give the A2 exam. I just give the B1. Have you ever been to the islands? Yeah, I really, really loved the islands. I've been to Saaremaa. I've been to Hiiumaa. Saaremaa, I loved it. Hiiumaa, amazing. I mean, I have many people. Many of my close friends are from Saaremaa and from Hiiumaa. And it's kind of funny because those those people are different. Like there's like a different mentality, a mindset on the island people. They're sort of like much more open, and they are much more, like warm towards foreigners, and people who are from other countries. I mean, Tallinn has and Estonia, mainland Estonia, you get like a little bit of like a colder attitude, but I mean, island people are like definitely fun and it's crazy. I mean, I had some of the great times on Hiiumaa. I mean, in Tallinn, you think everybody knows everybody, but in Hiiumaa, like everybody really knows everybody. Like, yeah, if you're like a foreign person and you go to Hiiumaa, then it's like a news in the city paper. What did it feel to give up your Pakistani citizenship? It was hard. It was really hard to think that I had to give it up. But the way I often think myself to myself is that I didn't earn my Pakistani citizenship. I was just born there, right? But I had to earn my Estonian citizenship. So that is how I sort of justify it to myself. But it was hard, of course. I mean, one thing that also contributed to it a little bit was that in 2014, when I came from Pakistan to Estonia, and now when I renounced my Pakistani citizenship in 2023, I mean, Pakistan is in a lot worse condition than it was in 2014. It's really sad. I mean, it breaks my heart. I mean, people are trying to get away and leaving Pakistan as much as they want. It wasn't the case back in 2014. I mean, I remember in 2014, my mom would tell others that like it was hard to explain where Estonia was. So my mom would often, because if you say Manan is in Estonia, then they would say, oh, where is Estonia? Oh, here, there. So a lot more questions. So my mom would just say Finland and Sweden, like he's in either Finland or like Sweden. But now Estonia is like a main destination because there's so many Pakistanis, and I think majority Pakistanis coming from all the way, and they're going anywhere. It's like the destination now. So yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with possibly the fact that its economic conditions in Pakistan have gone downhill. And I feel kind of really sad about it. But I think being in Estonia and being not just an Estonian citizen, but being an EU citizen, I see myself trying to contribute a lot more towards Pakistan than, for example, if I had just a Pakistani citizenship. So it's my goal to be a contributor from here in that way. But let's see how it goes. If you lived for a few years with a temporary resident permit, are they considered part of the? Yes, they are considered part of the. I think the islanders are much more welcoming, but it's not so common to see foreign. That's true. There are not many foreigners. But do you know that there are actually some foreigners living in on the islands for a very long time? Like, yeah, there was. I met a friend from Saaremaa who said that there was like a ship crashed, and there were like, I don't know, like people from African or all this descent, because she had brown eyes and she was Estonian, and she said those people just stayed in Estonia. So I mean, islands have had a lot more foreigner activity in the old ages, because I don't think they were like directly in contact, like they were not under the stronghold of the Soviet Empire, and before that as well. So I mean, you had like Estonian Vikings living in Saaremaa as well. So I think yeah, that might have contributed a little bit towards that as well. Yeah. I will say I would give up my original citizen without a second thought. I just want to escape from where I am. That's perfectly fine. I mean, just because you're born in a place doesn't mean you have to stay there. What is the biggest benefit? Yes, exactly the same thing. I want to travel a lot, not just to Israel or Palestine, but all the other places as well. My friend who had a summer home in Hiiumaa could literally tell me how many people from other religions. That's entirely true. Like you know very well. Do many people have pets? There are dog parks. Yes, there are a lot of pets. Estonian love dogs and pets, and these people. There are many dog parks, and it's very, very pet friendly country overall. Okay, so now that I've answered these questions, I want to move ahead a little bit to the final stage. So I got the renunciation certificate, and that was the final stage. So the day I got the renunciation certificate, I just went to the police office. Like as soon as I went to the post office, got the letter, I took the letter straight to the police office, and then I submitted it there. There, I had a very good discussion with the police lady there, and it was the same question that the previous commenter have asked me as well. That I was technically stateless, like I couldn't travel. I didn't have an ID card. I didn't have a passport. I didn't have an Estonian. And just in case, if you're in a position where you have to travel in emergency, I mean, anything can happen, like, right? So, I mean, you don't know for sure. Then that's a huge problem. So that was a really, really stressful time. And I researched a lot about it, like what is that, like the final stage of this, like, so the first stage is, of course, the police make sure that the PPA makes sure that you don't have any criminal, you don't have any outstanding stuff that you need to take care of. The police make sure that their requirements are fulfilled, right? And I have done all the things that are needed for Estonian citizenship. But then police sends it to the Estonian government, Riigikogu. There is a government committee that sits every quarter, like once every quarter, once every 3 months, and they make the final decision on the Estonian citizenship, right? So it's not just the police. They make the case and they send it to the government of the republic. Okay, so that was a like a stressful time because I applied right in the summer period, like around May, like end of May, and then in June, like end of June, beginning of July, I received the positive response. I wasn't expecting it to be that soon because I know people who have had to wait 6 months, one person. I know people who have had to wait 3 months for their final stage. And I was incredibly lucky that I was able to get this in a month. I have no ability. I had no ability to travel anywhere because I didn't have any travel document without having the Estonian passport. So I had to give up because phone account here has asked. I had to renounce my Pakistani citizenship officially. I was terminated from Pakistani citizenship before I got the Estonian citizenship. So I renounced my citizenship, Pakistani citizenship, in like March, and then I got my Estonian citizenship in like June, around end of June. So for these months, I'm technically stateless. I didn't have any, because there is no guarantee letter. In EU countries, I know that Germany has a guarantee letter, right? I know that some German friends have this guarantee letter that says that we will renounce your citizenship as soon as you get the Estonian citizenship. But I think in Pakistan's case, they don't do that. I think the reason for that is they cannot give you a guarantee for sure because the system is so separate from the EU. They cannot guarantee. So they just make sure that you just renounce your citizenship. You're either in or are you out? There is no middle way in between. So I researched about it. I asked many other people if there is another way to get a certificate or something, before actually renouncing this, but there is no way for Pakistanis, at least. I mean, for German, there definitely is, for German people. Ivan's asked, there's also a requirement to be outside of Estonia, not more than 10 months. Technically, it's difficult to check that because you can't be in the Schengen zone. But you can't, if you're outside the Schengen zone, then it can be checked, right? Because you're logged in and out of the Schengen zone. But I don't think there is a specific way to check that you are in Estonia. I mean, you obviously have a residence here, you obviously have a job here, obviously have to make sure that all these things are in check. But if you're in the Schengen zone, then I don't think that there is like a strict measure to check it. Do you know what happened if things go south, or did you have any plan? No. That was stressful. I told you that I didn't know. Like, I think it's very rare that it could happen, but I mean, yeah, I mean that was I couldn't even think about it. That would have been like a big disaster. You don't need a visit visa to come to Estonia. So, for example, if from the US, then you can live in Estonia for like 90 days, like 3 months, just like a tourist visa. You can't work here, but I mean that's a different thing. So, for example, if you're from Japan, you're from Australia, you're from UK, you're from US, you don't need a visa to come to Estonia. Visit visa. I don't mean a work visa. Okay. So the final stage was just simply that I got a email from my case officer after 5 weeks that said that the government has made a positive decision in my favor, and I can apply for Estonian passport and ID card. I was really happy. I mean, saying being happy is like an understatement. Like, I couldn't, like, it was just like it was just a very emotional moment for me, because it's like something that you've been working on for like 8 years. I mean, 8 years is a long time. I mean, I had less gray hair. My head was still full. I'm getting bald a little bit, but I was a different person back then. And it's such a long time. Like, I was 27 when I came to Estonia, and now I'm like 36. So it was, of course, a very emotional moment, and it's yeah. So I was really happy, and then again, because I'm really, really quick. Yeah, Essen, I will answer that question about, because there is some good point there. Yeah, in the email that I got from my case officer, they said that they are not doing any citizenship ceremony anymore, which was really sad. I was actually hoping that we would do that, but I wish they would. I mean, I would love to stand there and then sing the Estonian national anthem, or maybe I can go to Laulupidu anyway. But yeah. So that was a very emotional moment, and I, because I was so quick. So I said previously that go to the police office, have your picture taken, have your biometrics taken, and have your signature there. Make sure that it's updated. And I had done this beforehand, because I knew as soon as I would get the approval, I would apply for it right away. So as soon as I got the decision, after like 2 hours, I just applied for Estonian passport and ID card, and I applied for like the urgent one. There's a very good like online portal where you can just go in, apply, pay for it right away. I think it costs like 100 something euros, and it was so fast. I applied on Friday, 3 o'clock, the urgent, like 2 or 3 o'clock urgent one. And by 5, like after 2 hours, I got the decision that it had been sent to printing, like my ID card and my passport had been sent to printing within 2 hours, that it was a positive decision. On Monday, the second working day, I got the decision that my passport is ready. So for some reason, I mean, passports are faster. And on Tuesday, the very next day, I think it was the 3rd of July, I got the decision that my passport is ready as well. And as soon as I got the email, it was 3 p.m. I just went to the PPA Tamsare Tenidus. And I just submitted the old permanent resident card that I had. I gave it to them. They took it and they gave me the passport and the new ID card. And the passport, I mean, actually looks quite good. And the ID card, I mean, the ID card is actually different. It's like there are some security features in there that are quite cool. Like there is this cutout inside. I can't show you because it's like personal, but yeah, there's this little cutout there that is transparent, and then there's etching things inside, and it is very cool. And the passport itself is like it's like waterproof. Like you can't just spoil it by spilling anything on it. So that was the thing. As soon as I got the passport, I was really happy, and I came back home and I told everybody. And finally, it feels like I feel free, because previously I couldn't travel anywhere, but now I can travel, and I'm planning to travel a lot because I talk about it before I answer. I want to answer this question to Essen. Okay, so Pakistani question. Can you visit Pakistan with an ICOP card without visa? No, you cannot. If you renounce your Pakistani citizenship, your NICOP is invalid. But if you renounce your Pakistani citizenship, you can apply for POC, which is the Pakistan Origin Card. There are a couple of different ways where you can apply for it. If you're an ex-Pakistani, then you can apply for it. If you're married to a Pakistani, you can apply for it. If you're born in Pakistan, I don't know if you can apply for it as well. I'm planning to apply for it. It's a little bit expensive. It's like $200, which is probably the most expensive ID document. But it gives you a lot of benefits. I think it's valid for like 5 years or maybe 10 years. It gives you the ability to live in Pakistan as much as you want. It's like, think of it like a permanent resident card for Pakistan. You cannot vote. I mean, that is of course reserved for the citizens, but you can do everything else. I mean, you can study, you can work in Pakistan, you can buy property there, open a bank account. So you can do all these things in Pakistan except for voting. It's called the POC card, and you can apply for it online as well. It's a little bit complicated. I mean, you have to put your thumbprints and you have to scan them, but yeah, that's a whole another thing. Josh, it took me like 2 days, 3 days, 3 working days. I applied for like urgent. I applied ID card and passport at the same time. Yeah, you can see it online. So which country do you want to travel first? I think I would like to travel to UK. I'm actually going to UK next week. Week after next, actually. And I'm planning to travel to US and then Canada as well. And it's so funny because I was joking to my friends and family that if I had a Pakistani passport and I wanted to travel to UK, US, and Canada, I would have to spend at least 1,500 to 2,000 euros just to prepare the documentations, applications, and the visas. And it would take me at least 6 months to apply for these 3 places, like UK, US, and Canada. But I mean, having an Estonian passport or having an EU passport, like I applied, UK, you don't even need a visa. You don't even need a visa for UK as a EU. I mean, it might be very simple for people who are with EU passports since their birth, but like getting a UK visa, if you have to apply for it through direct ways, is like a nightmare. And it's so much money. It's just like the poorer you are, the more you have to spend. It just blows my mind. I applied for the American ESTA. It's called, it's just like a e-visa. They gave me a decision in 2 hours, and it costed like $20 US, 20. If I had to apply for a US visa, I would have to spend hundreds of US dollars. I would have to prepare documentation. I have to get a letter from my employer, because I've done this before as well. So many different things. I applied for a Canadian ETA. I don't need a visa to go to Canada if I am going by car. I don't need a visa at all. But if I'm flying to Canada through airline, then I need this e-visa. It's like $7 Canadian. Unbelievable. Like, it would cost you like 100 and 150 Canadian dollars just to apply for a normal visa. And you have to show the bank statement and all that stuff. So I mean, it's just it still blows my mind how difficult that is. Yeah. 180 for US visa is Pakistani, but that doesn't even cover the documentation. It's just yeah. And they were asking name of your mother's mother. Oh, yeah, I mean, it's so like sad for me, because you are the same person, right? It's not like you somehow became an alien when you were with a different passport, but it's like somehow this thing is attached to you. Like, I'm the same person that I was, but now just the world trusts me a lot more now. Weird reason. It doesn't, like, this really shows you how different the world works. Yeah, it's just sad. And that's why I encourage everybody to, if you have a weak passport, if you have this thing, then the world is a lot more open to you if you get this position as somebody else. Get an EU or an American or Canadian or all this citizenship. So, okay. So future plans, I think are the universities in Estonia expensive? No, they're not that expensive. They're definitely cheaper. I mean, not as cheap as Germany, because there it is. Education is free, but yeah, Estonian universities are not that expensive. So about the second topic that I want to talk about, that was more about the future of the channel and the things. So now I want to focus more on some broader topics. Right now, I have been very focused on Estonia, and I think I want to focus a lot more on European side as well. So one of the reasons why I'm also going to UK and Canada and US, because I want to create content. I want to get more ideas because I think that I want to talk more about the differences, like a much bigger, like European versus Asian, European versus American, East versus West. So this is one topic that I really, really want to explore more. And there are some good videos on this topic as well already. And I want to contribute that, because a lot of times people complain that when I'm talking about Estonia and these things, oh my God, they are so similar to, like Sweden or Scandinavia or all these things, which is true to a certain degree. But I mean, Estonia has its own identity as well. That there are some things that are very, very unique to Estonia as well. But now I want to go a little more broad, and I'm just taking a little time to travel and see what I can do more, but definitely a bit more broad. Yeah, it would be good. Thank you for staying here, Essen. The second thing that I want to talk more about is I think the connection aspect. So connection person to person. So for example, making friends, and that sort of relates to self-development, because that has been like a huge topic in my whole life when I've been in Estonia. Because when I came to Estonia, I was an introvert. I didn't know how to talk. I didn't know how to speak to camera. I was very shy. I had no people skills. I was 27, but I often joke that mentally I was like a bitter teenager, like 19 mentally. But being in Estonia, I actually grew up a lot, like taught me how to behave, how to talk to people, how to make friends, how to talk about relationships and all these things. And this is like connection aspect. I want to talk a lot more about this. So yeah, I've done a few videos on this topic, but I want to discover it a lot more. And I'm also thinking about opening channel membership on YouTube, and then also maybe a Patreon as well, because I've spending so much time and energy here, and it's time that I start to make sure that I get something back in return as well, because it's been like 3 years now, and I have more than 170 videos, and I think at this stage, I think there is like a 50% chance if a foreigner is coming to Estonia, then they have seen me. And there is like a 80% chance if they're coming from South Asia, then they have seen me. So it's a lot more. I haven't made videos about Estonian history. That actually brings me to this other thing, the Estonian podcast that I have. So I already have like quite a few episodes. And instead of making me talking about Estonian history or all these topics, I think I will bring other guests and we will talk about these things. So I've talked to many people, and there are more episodes coming up, and you will see them in the coming weeks. So if you have suggestions for guests, people who are cool, then I can talk to them, and people who are willing to talk on camera, then I would be willing to them. Okay, so it's been already 1 hour and 25 minutes. I think I explained it pretty well. The citizenship process in extreme detail. I will be wrapping up now. If you have any questions, then you can post them in the comments, because the comments will be open. And today is Sunday, so I wish you a lovely day. And if this experiment goes well, then I can do like more other live streams as well about some other major topics. It depends on the questions and the people who are able to attend. I'm really happy that there are almost 20 people. Yes, this video will be posted, so you can. I think all the live videos, are posted on YouTube. So that would be it. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. People who have stayed with me. Special thanks to Essen for JK Kakskol Nelly, JK Vistaste, Josh. Thank you so much. Who else was here for sign? XIGN sign. I know that you asked about the jobs. LinkedIn. Just spend as much time on LinkedIn as you can. Make connections. Joy, Marcus. Oh, Marcus asked me, Marcus Kalamees, how do you like Estonia? I really like Estonia, but it's a love and hate relationship. I mean, yeah, it's but the bottom line is that I love Estonia. It's my home. Johannes Matthias Tomo, biometrics are for 5 years. That's true, but I mean, your photo expires after 6 months. Anyway, Jupiter, just check it out. I'm just going through the chat. Where can I see my Estonian dramas for free? Bubbles was here. Katrin A was here. Ivans were here. Thank you so much, Ivans. Frederick Adas. Wow, 8 years. Okay, but that's it. Thank you so much, everybody. Suur aitäh. Tänan. Malahan praegu koyule. I'm actually at home anyway, so I'm not going anywhere. But I'll see you in the Nasir Ahmed. I have one question. If anybody don't know English and Estonian language, how can he learn? I don't understand the question. Just paste that in the comments, and I can answer that later. Okay. Bolt taxi driver, how much the salary make in Estonia? I think they make like about, I don't know, like 7-10 euros an hour. I don't know. Maybe somebody else can answer, because I've never done this before. But roughly that time. I mean, you can earn roughly 2,000, 2,500, pretty much. But you have to give taxes as well. Not so easy. Okay. Nasir Ahmed, you are late. Okay. Okay. Suur aitäh. Tänan, ma olen Eesti kodanik. Yeah. All right. Hiadaiga, and I will keep posting podcasts and videos, but see you in the next one. Bye-bye.